The reason why we learn how to solve equations is so that we very often can apply our knowledge in real-life situations. In the example given here, I have a new school building and I want to find out how much wood I would need to build the beams for the roof. Now, the roof that is shown over here is made up of two congruent triangles. That means that triangle ABC and ADC are perfectly equal. In other words, the length that I got from A to D is going to be the same as from A to B, and the length from C to D must be the same as from B to C. The next thing that I should notice by looking at this is that this triangle is a right-angled triangle, and I cannot know how much wood I'm going to need unless I find out the value of x. If I know the three sides all in terms of one variable, I can use Pythagoras in order to solve for x. Pythagoras states that the square of the long side, which is the hypotenuse side, so that's going to be 3x minus 1 squared, is going to be equal to the sum of the squares of the two shorter sides. Well, those are the other two sides of the triangle. The one shorter side is shown by x plus 2, so that side squared plus the other side, which is 2x plus 3, all squared, should give me the answer. You can see by looking at my equation that I've been able to find an equation in one variable only. The next part of our sum is to solve to find the value of x. Remember, every time that you need to solve for x and you have a bracket squared, make life a little simpler for yourself by taking time just to write those brackets out twice, in this case each, so that you don't make a mistake when multiplying out your brackets. In multiplying out these brackets on the left-hand side, I'm going to get 9x squared minus 6x plus 1. On the right-hand side, from my first set of brackets, I get x squared plus 4x plus 4. And from my second set of brackets, I'm going to get 4x squared plus 12x plus 9. At this stage, you should recognize that I have a quadratic equation. That means I must take all my information to one side and equal to 0 on the other. Having taken all my information from the right to the left, and then color coding the terms that I'm going to add, once I add these terms, I get that my expression is 4x squared minus 22x minus 12, all equal to 0. On the left-hand side, there is a highest common factor of 2, and taking out that 2 and dividing both sides by that constant, I now have that it is 2x squared minus 11x minus 6 is equal to 0. This can be factorized very nicely using your trinomial method, which gives you two brackets, the first one of 2x plus 1 and the second bracket of x minus 6. This means that I have two possible solutions. The first solution says that x could have been minus a half, and the second solution says that x could have been equal to 6. Now, which of these numbers am I allowed to use? As a length can never be a negative measurement, you can see that I am not allowed to use the minus a half. So the measurement that I'm going to use is when x is going to be 6. In other words, the hypotenuse is going to be the answer of 17 units. The length, which is your perpendicular, is going to be 8 units, and the length from C to D is going to be 15 units. Now, very often when we get to solving an equation, we think that we've got to the end of the sum. But you have not, because you've been asked to find out how much wood you would need. If I know that these are congruent triangles, the length from A to B is also 17 units, and the length from B to C is 15 units. what I need to do is I need to find out how much wood I would need for one of these beams. And then, as the question asks for 20 beams, I need to multiply that answer by 20 to get the final result. So one beam would in fact have had 2 hypotenuse, which was 17 units, 2 horizontal lengths, which is 15 units, and 1 length from A to C, which was 8 units. In other words, I would need 72 meters to make one beam. That means that for 20 beams, I would need 72 meters 20 times over. And so the amount of wood that I would need altogether to complete this project would be 1,440 meters.